Okay, this is mushroom journey number 8. And my partner, my wife, Esther, she was my hero on this dose. She spent quite a bit of time with me on this journey, more than any other. And it was just very, very marvelous. She was like the angel of angels, all the goodness of the universe personified in her. And wow, that was that was a really fun experience. So I took 12 grams, which in my notes I described it as, if the sun wanted to do mushrooms, this is how much you would give the sun. It's like a planet killer dose if you just want to blast a planet away, kind of thing. Sort of unnecessary, completely unnecessary, but just part of my experimenting with different dosages. And for the first bit, I didn't spend too much time with Esther, so she had to go check in on our parents, take our one daughter to work and whatnot. And so I was alone for the first maybe 2 hours. And just there's a couple of things I'm going to try to communicate through this thing. So one is just, I was just inundated with sensory input. You know how in the electromagnetic spectrum, there's just this small band that is actually visible light, and there's actually much, much larger portion of that spectrum that we really can't perceive. You can't see radio waves, you can't see microwaves. You know they're there, but our body, our minds, our eyes, our senses, they just can't sense them. And so even more than that, there's the vibrations of atoms and molecules, and just the air itself, and just so many things are happening about reality that is true about reality, but we just don't perceive it. We just perceive both visually and sensorily, and as our minds can sort of figure it out, just a small portion of reality, how it actually is. It's like these 12 grams in combination sort of removed all the filters and or gave me a capacity to see much more reality, what it is. And if you were to compare, like, say, our normal sensory experiences, like walking through a mist, this was like fire hoses of sensoriness and emotion just coming at me at all directions. It's like all the volume of the Earth's oceans being poured on me every second. It's just a kind of an extreme explanation, but just trying to get a handle on how this was. There's a few other kind of stories or analogies I think of to kind of communicate it. There's a scene in Interstellar where he's just fallen into the black hole and his voice kind of vibrates. I can't kind of simulate it, but it's this kind of like this vibrational sound. And it seemed like everything, I was feeling the vibration of the cosmos and the universe and all molecules itself. And so it's just kind of this, just this zzz, this almost like a buzzing of the universe. And it's just super, super overwhelming. And this is kind of another funny thing. It's like, in our normal state of being conscious and aware, it's like we just couldn't. It's a good thing our brain filters all this out. We just couldn't function. If you were just actually getting everything as it was, it would just be overload. And so this is what it was. It's not something a normal person could functionally absorb. So it's almost this vibrational energy just pouring in. And I want to make another distinction here, in that it was both at the same time extremely challenging, like a dark, bad trip, but not completely that. And so this is one of the main features of this whole mushroom trip. And so it was kind of overwhelming in this dark, hard to deal with way. But it wasn't completely that. It was like there was these glimpses of harmony behind the torrent of everything that was coming. Another thing I think of is, you know how the orchestras, when they're just warming up, it's just kind of, everybody's kind of doing their own notes on their own instruments, and it's just kind of sound, and it's not a music to say, it's not offensive, it's just kind of, oh, these people are tuning up their instruments or getting themselves ready. Just like imagine turning the dial of that up like some very large amount, and very intense, feeling overwhelming, feeling uncomfortable, feeling kind of with hints of it being like a very bad dark trip, but it wasn't that completely. And there's this other kind of analogy, or this story, you know, in that movie Castaway, when just after the plane crashes on the ocean and he finds that life raft and he's sitting in the life raft, and the camera kind of pans back, and the waves, we can see the scale of the waves going bigger and bigger and bigger, and the raft going smaller, and then being lifted up on these gigantic waves. So it's kind of like, that's a good analogy of it too, except these waves are like, you know, the size of a planet, the size of a galaxy, just like this. And this was still very early on, the first little bit. And I remember Esther came in and told me she was going to take Allison to work. I knew she had a couple of errands to do. And it's like you're riding just like Tom Hanks in that thing. You're riding this wave, and like someone throws you this buoy down this kind of thin thread, and the buoy lands next to you, and you hear this voice coming down the buoy. I'm gonna take Allison to work. And you kind of know what's going on for a few brief seconds. Oh yeah. And it's just kind of registering, 3, 2, 1, and you're lost again. So that was kind of funny. So in my notes, I remember just writing in large caps, danger, danger, just as a communication to others. Like, in the end, this was just a really profound and bright experience, but it had these elements that were really just extremely overwhelming. And the main thing I just want to keep repeating, it was kind of, there was this intense kind of elements of something terrible and terrifying, but intermingled with that were these euphoric and just moments of clarity, these moments of recognition. And so it was like a music coming together, and these notes were intermingling with each other and playing. So it wasn't like, to get to see the light or what was good, we don't get rid of what is bad, but it's just kind of this harmonizing. And at the very beginning, it was kind of this cacophony that I couldn't quite discern the harmony of, but I would just get these glimpses, and I would say to myself, glimpses. And you're just seeing some sort of incredible perfection, incredible unity. And what was profound about it, it wasn't at the expense of eliminating what was dark, or what we would think of as being terror or terrifying. It was like, just slowly, ever so slowly, these kind of overwhelming terrors would be punctuated with just just absolute, a blissful oneness recognition. And this was really profound to see this and recognize this. And I remember Esther was away, and just, you'd come to a little bit. It's kind of like, when she came back home, I really wanted her to come to me and help me and see me. So I managed to crawl to the doorway of the room, and I just lay there, just withstood the storm, withstood the onslaught, withstood the fire hoses of sensory information and emotion and whatnot. And so I lay there. And when she did come home, she did see me kind of marooned there on the doorway. Keep moving myself to, the sun's just coming up over the house. So Esther found me, and it's very hard to speak on large doses of mushrooms, but occasionally you can latch on to a word or a series of words as if it was one word. And this is the one thing you can repeat at times in communication. And this is what happened here. I kind of, this string of words, help me, thank you. Help me, thank you. I would say to her, I wanted to communicate to her how appreciative I was, but I needed her help. Help me, thank you. It was kind of like, in my brain, it was like all one word, and I was able to get it out. And so she helped me, crawl back to the mattress, arrange the blankets, arrange the pillows. She'd say to me, okay, put your head here near the music, closer to where the speaker was. And it was such a wonderful thing. And in my mind, this seemed to have happened hundreds and hundreds of times in my mind, where she would say to me, here, put your head on the pillow near the music. And I remember just finding that so funny, because it seemed like I was experiencing this in all the multiverses, this same experience kind of simultaneously of hundreds of thousands of times she telling me that. It was pretty funny. But the music, the music has played a profound effect on all my mushroom trips. This one was one of the, I'm not sure how to categorize it, but it was a glorious thing. So this might be mid-morning now, and the sun is just starting to come through that south window of this room. And so when Esther came, she didn't have much going on that day. And like I said, she spent quite a bit of time with me. And this was one stretch kind of in the mid-morning till noon. And wow, it was such a wonderful thing to share this with her. I know she was not in the same frame of mind as I was, but she was happy. And afterwards she says, we had this big mattress, and so it was comfortable for her. She had a pillow. She lied down with me, and sometimes we'd share music together, and I would be kind of off, and every once in a while, just be nice to have her there. There's a real sense that I was sharing just some profound, universal, cosmic insights in her presence, and having her be there. She was definitely my hero, and it was definitely I would say, a real critical turning point in terms of this whole journey itself. Like I was mentioning, there's these dark elements, these terrifying elements, these overwhelming elements, and just interwoven with this music, this cosmic music that was just slowly and slowly finding its harmony. And this is where it just started to turn into more kind of a tuning. It's like at the beginning, for the first couple hours, I was just inundated with sensory input, and it was like it was out of tune, or it's like an old radio. You're trying to find the thing, and it was just static. And every once in a while, you pass over some sort of coherence, and it was just like slowly this late morning, the tuning of all this torrent started to kind of emerge. And again, I found it just extremely profound. The emergence of this harmony did not dispel or get rid of any darkness or dark feeling or terror or overwhelmingness. Those things didn't need to disappear to get this sense of this ultimate unifying structure. And so that was a deep, profound insight to me. And the music was just amazing. So, you have to remember how time goes in these circumstances. It's that you can be stuck in, or not stuck, just enjoying a matter of a few seconds, and they can last for months or years or eons. You're just taking in the moment. And just in our everyday lives, we just go 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds. But imagine you slowed down to such a measure that everything that was happening, you could articulately see and feel and know. Well, that's sort of like expanding time within that space, because instead of, say, knowing, it's like, how a movie has 60 frames a second or something. Imagine being able to articulate 1,000,000 frames a second. Well, in so doing, it's almost like you're expanding what time is for you. And with these music, maybe one song would end, da, 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 however it was, and it would just be such a glorious unifying thing. And there'd be this 2 or 3 second gap to the next song. But for me, it's just like this singular focus of lasting months or years, and I'm just like waiting for the next song. It's just like, it's just this crescendo, and then the first few notes would start, and it's just like, holy moly. That was perfection. And to have Esther there and to share these things, for me, it was extremely profound and wonderful. And I remember just kept saying, this is it, and glimpses, and this is it. And just seeing more and more of the harmony amidst all this cacophony, and just such an overwhelming amount of information. And so Esther went and got Alison for lunch. They had lunch, and then she came back and lay with me. And it was maybe 2.5 hours. This time, it was the most glorious of all my mushroom trips, and doubly so because I was sharing it with the one I love so much. And she was a hero, just kept helping me with the blankets and whatnot. And, I could sometimes hear her humming the music with me. And wow, those 2.5 hours, it's hard for me to think that anyone has experienced anything as lovely as that. Just repeated epiphany after epiphany. And it was here where full kind of in tune came into play. This was the few hours where it was just everything was in tune. And again, the terror hadn't disappeared, but it was just part of this beautiful music. And I know that kind of sounds odd to say or paradoxical, but it was immensely wonderful. And since I had taken such a large dose, I think it took a long time for it to come out of my system. So I think it was from 6 o'clock is when I first took them. And so it was maybe 3 in the afternoon. And so this was like 9 hours later. And it wasn't even just barely hinting at sort of the coming back down. And so it took quite a while, like 3, 4, 5, 6. It was like a very long, prolongated coming back. And so this was just, I'm at a loss for words. There was just this feeling of equanimity and chill. Just this complete, I haven't felt that so deeply before. Just an utter, universal, unlimited okayness might be the word. It's okayness. See, someone may tell you it's okay, or you might say that to yourself, and it's kind of like, oh yeah, okay, well, yeah, maybe, hopefully it'll be okay, and kind of thing. So that's a very trivial cartoon thing. I'm trying to just speak of this, without a shadow of a doubt, what happens to you next, or in your life, or whatever. It's just, there's this ground, there's this knowing, there's this experiencing beneath it all. There's this context. It's kind of like having experienced this inundation of this cacophony and this torrent of everything, and seeing it being woven in to this beautiful harmony. It's like, what more can you add to that? What could make that worse? This has the power to harmonize and bring unity to everything, because in some way it is all of one thing. And so there's this sort of it's just such a profound, deep chill and okayness. And this is one of the main takeaways I kind of get even for myself. I kind of, there's kind of this visceral, I'm not sensing this sensory overload as we sit here now. A person couldn't function. And so it's a kind of a good thing that we sort of can't see everything the way it is, just so we can function as humans. But there's kind of the echo of this that still remains with me, and just this echo of, it really turns the dial back of being so anxiously serious about your life. There are very many good and important things and worthwhile things to work at and think about and even worry about a little bit and be sad about. And, there's lots of discomforts and pains and, extreme measures of sadness still. But somehow that can't displace this sort of cosmic harmony that can welcome it all. It's kind of like a parent being able to hug their children. It's kind of like, there's just no shadow of a doubt that they can, their arms can embrace them. It's just, it doesn't matter how much the child is crying or for what it is or how extreme or intense the emotion. It's like, it's okay. It's okay. And there's a connection in that it's something you're sort of saying to yourself. You've been plugged in to the cosmos on another level of connectivity, and it's kind of you yourself are saying this to yourself. It's kind of like there's kind of not a me to be afraid of anything anymore in that sort of lost way. And so I could just talk about this for quite a long time. I'm not sure if I would be able to be any more articulate about it or not. Quite a glorious experience in the end. So thankful for it, and so thankful for Esther, and she was my hero for sure, and was just, words can't describe how fun that was to share a number of those hours with her.